Well, I think this is as good as it's going to get. Sorry, I'm a few minutes late logging on here. I was moving my chair and my computer screen and my keyboard because there is a massive talk about UV awareness, a massive sunbeam. See, you can see it right here. Right there. It's right here. See? Right there. And I was trying to sit and work while it was on my face. And I'm trying not to be right under that beam as I am leading this chat today. So I was moving my screen and shifting my chair. As you know, I have to shift the chair with the sunbeam. Not quite sure what to do about this. We have a home that's being built right next door and kind of waited to see if maybe with them building the home, if that would change this kind of weird sunbeam situation I have in here. So the jury's still out because we might need to put a little shade up there. I'm thinking. So anyways, hello everyone. Good to see you, whoever's joining right now. We are live on Facebook. We're also live on YouTube. So please say your name. Tell us where you're joining from. If you have lupus or you know someone who has lupus, or maybe you have some lupus overlap conditions, and how you're doing. Kind of keep us updated on how things are going. And also, too, this is your place to post any questions, any concerns. If you have some thoughts you wanted to run by, or you had a question, you had a need, you need a resource, maybe you are diagnosed and for the first time and you are trying to get a team of doctors together, you don't know where to start, what to do, this is your time. Please post any comments, questions, concerns here. And what I'm going to do is give you some information and inspiration. And then after that, I'm going to start at the top of the comments and I'm going to work my way down. And I'm going to try and get through as many of the comments, questions, concerns that I can within the hour today. So I'm excited to be here. So welcome, Facebook Live Support Chat. As people start to log in, don't forget to share this on your personal Facebook page. That way people can get connected to support and community and find us. We have over 100 blogs on morethanlupus.com. We've got in-person and online support groups. We've got this Facebook Live support chat that happens every Monday, unless I'm out of town. And we've got ways to connect, ways to get you dialed into community, but also connected to resources that are really important. So anyway, check that out and share this chat, please, on your personal Facebook page. It is July 14th. July 14th. How is that possible? How is that possible? I cannot believe it. Today is Monday. I'm thrilled to be back with you today after being gone last week on just a small little family vacation getaway for a few days. We went to the coast. So sorry I couldn't be with you live, but you know, it is important to connect with the family, especially since my husband works long hours and with my son being on summer break, you know, we just are trying to make the most of family time, family quality time as much as we can. So thank you for being flexible with me. Happy to be back today. Oh, by the way, today is not only July 14th, but today is also National Mac and Cheese Day, I'll have you know. Did you know that? Yeah. I have this little website that tells me, you know, today is National Frisbee Day, and today is National Pet Your Dog Day, and Dress Like a Pirate Day. And there's all these like really funny ones. Hi, Emma, good to see you here today. And today is National Mac and Cheese Day. So I thought that was interesting. And I was reading oh, there we go. Can everybody see me? Am I frozen? I hope not. All good? Will someone let me know that we're all good, please? Please. Anyway, I just will keep talking. I'll keep talking. Hopefully everything is okay. Our internet just went a little wonky here. All good? Okay. So yeah, so people think that Kraft might be the first thing that comes to mind when you think of mac and cheese. And that's for a good reason, because the company has been making Kraft mac and cheese in the box since 1937. Can you believe that? 1937. But they did not invent mac and cheese. The origins of the creamy casserole noodle dish are obviously tracked back to Italy, right? Let's give credit where credit's due. Where pasta and Parmesan were a staple meal for centuries. But I guess Thomas Jefferson gets some credit because he brought the recipe back after spending time in Italy. So there you go. So it's not really Kraft company did not invent mac and cheese. Thomas Jefferson maybe is credited to bringing it over here to the States. But the Italians, yes, molto bene. They gave us the noodle with the cheese. So there you go. Happy mac and cheese day. I hope it. If that's one of your comfort foods, go ahead and get yourself a bowl. I like mine with lots of Parmesan cheese. I put Parmesan cheese on everything. It's like my thing. Anyway, so besides it being mac and cheese day, obviously we're going to get to the nitty gritty and talk about the really important things today. July is PTSD Awareness Month. We talked about that a couple weeks ago. It's also Chronic Illness Awareness Month. We've been talking about that so far this month. And it's also UV Awareness Month, which is what we're going to focus on today. And it's quite appropriate because my family and I are going to go spend some time at my in-laws pool. So I already have my cover up on, I'm ready to go, and I'm going to get my sunscreen and everything else I need to make sure I am protected from those UV rays. And we're going to break it down for you. But first, let me introduce myself. If you're joining for the first time, or maybe you haven't been here in a while, my name is Kelly, and I am the creator and executive director of this Portland-based nonprofit, More Than Lupus. And hi, Robin, so good to see you. I miss you, Robin. Guess what, Robin? Guess what? The ACR is going to be in Chicago this year. Yes, so hopefully I'll get to see you in October. Yeah, I forgot to tell you that if you didn't know that already. The American College of Rheumatology Summit, which happens every fall, they kind of ping pong back and forth. They do East Coast, West Coast, and then they try and meet in the middle. So we were in San Diego, and then we were in Washington, D.C., and now we're going to be in Chicago. So I'm thrilled to be back with, yay, I'm so happy. So it's actually in October this year. It's usually in November. So I'll get you the dates for that. Totally got distracted. I wanted to tell you guys, if you're new, and that if you're not familiar with More Than Lupus, we are a multi-ethnic, multi-generational, international lupus family community connection spot designed by lupus patients. That's what kind of makes us different. And we're designed and curated to hopefully allow space to connect people for growth and to inspire people throughout the peaks and the valleys of their lupus journey. Or maybe I should say our lupus journey, because I have lived with systemic lupus and multiple lupus overlap conditions since the age of 11. I was a pediatric patient, and I know sometimes people may come here and think, oh, okay, well, what does she know about this illness? And for better or for worse, I know a lot. I'm not a lupus expert. I would never be so bold as to say that, because this is one of the most complicated diseases out there. But I have lived through 33 years of navigating this illness. And I understand the nuances of how challenging it can be. I understand the frustrations. I understand the times where you just don't want to talk about it. You don't want to hear the word lupus. You don't want to go to your doctors. You don't want to do your labs. You don't want to take the new medication, you're just done. I've been through all of that. I have also been through dozens of hospitalizations, multiple surgeries. I have been through many rounds of pretty intense immunosuppressive therapy and blood transfusions. I've suffered through pregnancy loss because of this and challenges with being told I could not have children. Thankfully, I have got my limited edition, my son Luca, who's 11 and a half now. So all that to say that lupus can be incredibly challenging, and I'm someone that understands wherever you're at. And also, that's kind of why we designed this space. We believe that every person living with lupus, no matter their background, should be treated with equity and dignity and taken seriously. And it's our mission here at More Than Lupus that people feel heard and seen and valued. And this is especially important if you are currently in a flare or feeling frustrated, or if you are brand new, newly diagnosed, and just finding us, because we see you and we want you to know that you're safe here. And we know how overwhelming it can be, especially if you've got many things going on at once. And if this is you, we highly encourage you, as I said earlier, to check out our blogs on morethanlupus.com, because navigating this illness, as I say, almost weekly can be tricky, right? It's very tricky. We're here to help. Just a couple updates before we get to our topic today. We have our monthly Zoom support group meeting this Saturday, July 19th, online at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So that's 6 p.m. Eastern Time. It's actually going to be after our More Than Lupus summer picnic party at Cook Park here in Tigard. And that's going to be happening at 10 a.m., trying to kind of hit it at a time where we're not going to be in those peak UV hours. We do have a spot that's shaded, and I'm very thankful that for anyone who can come on down, bring your family, bring your friends. It's just a nice time to see everybody in person. So we'll be joining Cook Park this Saturday at 10 a.m. at the park, picnic tables. It is a potluck. You do not have to bring something, but if you have something that you really like to make or share or want to enjoy, please feel free to do so. So that's happening at 10 a.m. and then 3 p.m. is our Zoom. Now, if you are not on our email list, you don't get our Zoom invites, and you'd like to join, it's a wonderful time to connect with people in a more intimate setting from all over. We've got people joining from the East Coast, from we've got middle of the state. We've got all sorts of people joining. So it's really a great time of connection and quality time. So please feel free to log up. Tell us here if you don't get the email, you want to join the Zoom. I will send you the Zoom invite and get that all set up in person for you. Okay? For you to join, I should say. Also, just a reminder, we have all of our virtual symposium educational events that we've done with Dr. Thomas, who wrote the Lupus Encyclopedia, up on our YouTube. They're also on our Facebook page, but for those who don't really do Facebook anymore, check out our YouTube. You can watch them all there, as well as all the other ones that we've done over the years. By the way, More Than Lupus has been going strong for 7 years now. Can you believe that? I can't. It's crazy. And we've had the honor to partner with so many esteemed professionals, from licensed therapists and counselors and child psychologists to world-renowned rheumatologists to people who do DNA and pharmaceutical backgrounds. We have had everything, and I'm so honored that you are still here, coming back, connecting. We're growing still, and it's been 7 years. So I don't plan on going anywhere. I know this year has been tricky because of cuts in funding that have trickled down to us smaller nonprofits. But my hope is that things will start to kind of turn around a little bit, and wherever we can get a little nugget of funding, we will use it to we will use it and make the most of every dollar that we get here. We are kind of a volunteer situation here. We've got a board of directors, and then you've got me. I do not take a paycheck. So our hope is just to continue to push through and do as much as we can with what little budget we have, because I feel like we make a big difference. So yeah, holy moly, 7 years. Absolutely, Robin. Okay, before we go into our topic, let me give a brief disclaimer. I see some people joining now. I'm so excited. And like I said earlier, don't forget to share this on your personal Facebook page. All right, listen up. The More Than Lupus Facebook Lupus Live support chats are aimed to be a positive and open space where you can both give and receive support and encouragement from others. We are not doctors here. I mean, we team up with doctors, but I am not personally a medical professional, so therefore I cannot give you medical advice or diagnose symptoms that you may be having. All that we can do here is provide you with information that you can hopefully take back to your doctors and have an open and honest conversation about what is the best course of action for you and your unique one-of-a-kind lupus journey. Additionally, this group is intended for those living with lupus or a lupus overlap illness like scleroderma, mixed connective tissue disease, rheumatoid arthritis, fibromyalgia, dermatomyositis. I'm sure there are many, many others, Sjogren's, Raynaud's, all of those. Yeah, right. It's also intended to provide support and encouragement to those who know someone living with lupus or a lupus overlap condition, a friend, a family member, a coworker, a loved one, a neighbor. Now, if you don't fall into those two categories, this is not the right chat for you. And please keep all comments positive, and any inappropriate material will be deleted. Sometimes we get shared in places, we're live here on YouTube and Facebook, as I mentioned, in chats that we're not supposed to be, and then something starts commenting. I see it, I get rid of it, and then you will hear me say my jingle. What is it? Don't engage, refresh your page, right? Don't engage. Do not waste a morsel of energy on something you know shouldn't be there. I see it. All you have to do is refresh your page, and I will tell you to refresh your page, and it will be gone. Okay, let me get my banner up. I thought I had it here. There we go. Okay, here we are, and here's the sunbeam. See? Speaking of UV awareness and photosensitivity. By the way, I don't know if you've noticed, but we are in the heat of summer, and especially over here in the West Coast. We are in the Pacific Northwest, and it doesn't usually get crazy hot, but it's been pretty hot here, reminding me of my days of living in California. It was almost 100 yesterday. It's going to be warm today. It's going to be warm all week. For many of us with lupus and other lupus-like conditions, these warmer days with that full sun, the blue skies, no cloud cover, feel good because we're lacking in vitamin D. But in other people who have severe photosensitivity, the lack of cloud cover and those intense summer rays can be very, very difficult to manage. In fact, some people with severe photosensitivity can have so much discomfort. They may just choose to not go outside and not engage in life. Close the curtains and hibernate until the changing of the seasons, right? And I'm being a little bit flippant here, but it's not too far from the truth, right? Not too far from many people. So instead of boycotting all these hot summer days, we're going to try and kind of talk through some options and to maybe bring you out of the dark and hopefully allow you to enjoy life outside of your home with some proper techniques to set you up for success if you have lupus and photosensitivity. So let's go back and talk about what is photosensitivity in the first place. So photosensitivity is actually one of the 11 criteria listed on the American College of Rheumatology, and I mentioned them earlier. They're the big rheumatology organization that kind of classifies, categorizes, does the diagnostic, fine-tuning, recommendations for treatment. This is what all the rheumatologists in America and kind of around the world go to as the hub of information. And according to them, one of the 11 criteria, along with a physical exam and blood work, to validate, justify, whatever word you want to say, a lupus diagnosis is photosensitivity, okay? It's one of the 11 criteria associated with the lupus diagnosis. It is defined as a varying sensitivity, that's important, varying sensitivity to ultraviolet rays. Those are what? UVA and UVB rays that come from the sun, but also come from other sources. This is important too for you to know, like fluorescent lights, like tanning beds, like those things you put your nails in at the nail salon when you're getting your manicures or the gel. These are fake, by the way. I switched over. These are little press-ons because I couldn't put my hands in those things. All right, so it comes from the sun and it comes from fluorescent lights, all right? And it's estimated that over 2/3 of people with lupus have increased sensitivity to ultraviolet rays on some level, either from sunlight or from artificial inside lights, okay? And photosensitivity is not just going to impact your skin. This is where people think they get it wrong, okay? Photosensitivity can affect those with all forms of lupus as well, but according to the National Institute of Health, it primarily exacerbates symptoms of widespread cutaneous lupus and systemic lupus. So lupus nephritis, neuropsychiatric lupus are not as high on the list as cutaneous lupus, so lupus that impacts the skin, and systemic lupus, erythematosus, okay? I have systemic lupus. Many of you have both. Some people have lupus nephritis, okay? So here are some interesting factoids for you regarding photosensitivity. Now, what causes photosensitivity? And there's not a ton of, I want to say, absolute agreement, but I think that doctors tend to believe that it's that inflammation, that activation of these overactive cells. Now, there is a process called apoptosis, and that is what everyone has in their body, and that is programmed cell death. Programmed cell death. And apoptosis is a normal reaction, as I mentioned, everyone has, for the body getting rid of dead skin cells. And in lupus, it seems to occur too frequently, which can lead to an increase of inflammation and even a rash. So for those people who have skin involvement and then go out in the sun, that programmed cell death and that inflammation ramps up under the UV lights, and then you can get red, you can get a rash, you can get bumps, you can get welts, that kind of a thing. But let me be clear, photosensitivity is not just a rash. If you think to yourself, well, I don't get a rash when I go outside, I don't get a butterfly rash, I don't get discoid rashes when I go out in the sun, so I think I'm okay. There are a lot of other things that can happen that you may not realize are actually your body having a photosensitive reaction to UV rays. Fatigue is top of the list. Joint pain, fever, headache. She just said migraine, yep. Are all symptoms of photosensitivity as well. Also brain fog, yeah. A 2013 study, here we go, let me put this here for you. You can look at that later. 83% of lupus patients reported having some form of photosensitivity. So that's even more than 2/3, 83%, if I can do my fractions. My son is into fractions right now. Anyway. So 83% of lupus patients reported having some form of photosensitivity, with overall worsening of skin issues reported by 69% of lupus patients. So there you go. Now, the thing that's interesting and what I've noticed and what I've read, obviously, as I mentioned, I'm not a doctor, I'm not an expert, is that it appears that every patient somewhat has a UV threshold. There's an amount of UV that you can tolerate, and then once you go past that UV threshold, that's when things start to go down, right? That's when you start walking like the Tin Man, you start feeling your head ache setting in, you start getting real fuzzy, can't remember your name, you need to lie down, you're exhausted, you are just headache, fever, rash, whatever, okay? So understanding what your UV threshold is and going above a UV threshold can trigger lupus flares, which is increased disease activity. And each lupus patient seems to have a unique threshold. As I mentioned earlier, photosensitivity can occur inside as well. Fluorescent lights, including compact fluorescent lamps, are considered energy saving. However, emit more UV light than incandescent bulbs. So it's really important for you to understand what lights you have in your house or at your school or at your work, even at your gym, wherever you're going, and ask, are those high UV emitting lights? You may know now, gosh, when I was in college in that old university with those old lights, I would just zone out or be in a lecture or be in the lab, be in my class and just feel like, golly, I feel nauseous. I have a headache. I can't think straight. It could be from those lamps you were sitting under if you have lupus and photosensitivity. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about some tips to kind of, well, first let me go back. Let me talk a little bit about UV rays, and then I will talk about UV protection. I'll do that. Okay, let me go back. So I know I'm throwing a lot of information at you. This is stuff that we've kind of talked about before, off and on, but I think it's so good to go back, especially during these summer months and during UV Awareness Month, to remind everyone about UV, indoor, outdoor, UVA, UVB. So here we are. Where did I? Okay, yeah, here we go. So there are two basic types of rays of sunlight, UVA and UVB, as I said earlier. UVA rays penetrate the skin more deeply. However, UVB rays are ironically more responsible for sunburn and most skin cancers. There are approximately 500 times more UVA rays in the sunlight than UVB rays. But it's really important for whatever sunscreen that you are putting on, and sunscreen is a must, that protects you from both UVA and UVB. But make sure that it does protect against UVA, because a lot of sunscreens these days focus on UVB because that's mainly associated with cancer and sunburn. But the UVA rays penetrate your skin more deeply, okay? And will make you feel really icky. So make sure cover both. It's also really important, and I talk about this, I've talked about this with events. I schedule my son. We schedule an son as an SUN, not my son who's in the other room. It's important to schedule your son. Try to stay away from direct sunlight between the hours of 10 and 4. And I know that sounds kind of like a big window there, but it can be done. Even at 10, it's not going to be as intense as it would be at 12, where the sun is right smack in front of you in the top of the sky. UV rays are especially intense during those hours and at higher altitudes as well, or if you're around snow or water where the sun is being reflected off too. That is when you are going to have the most intense UVA and UVB rays. So if you can plan on your morning walk or your night exercise or gardening or whatever you're going to do, outside of that peak UV window, 10 to 4, you will do yourself a favor and not expose yourself to those really intense UVA, UVB rays. And did you know that every city has their own UV ray ranking? It's given by the National Weather Service, and you can look it up, and you can look up your city, and you can just type into Google National Weather Service my city's UV ray rating, and it will tell you how intense your ratings are for your city. Now, as I mentioned earlier, just because you're indoors doesn't mean that you are safe from UV exposure. That's why Dr. Thomas, who wrote the Lupus Encyclopedia, says to put on sunscreen regardless of you're going outside or not. Because if you are going into a store or a library, a college, a doctor's office, you just don't know if the lamps that you are sitting under are emitting UV. So always put on sunscreen. Uncovered fluorescent and halogen lights and even coffee machine lights have lighting mechanisms that can emit UV rays, which can potentially cause lupus photosensitivity. Thankfully, though, a lot of people have invested in shades and filters and light bulb covers that are available, and those will offer a little bit of UV protection from indoor UV rays associated with artificial lighting. Let's see here. LED bulbs, there's not a ton of evidence on, I think someone was asking about that. Yeah, LED bulbs, there's not a ton of evidence to draw on regarding a decrease in photosensitivity, but many lupus patients believe LED bulbs have little effect on their lupus. Try using UV blocking shades to cover windows and prevent light from streaming in, especially if you're driving in a car. That can be really hard. With the sun beating down. I've had many times where I'm driving and like, gosh, I feel like the sun is beating right on my arm. And then I had a lot of joint pain in the arm from that overexposure. Another thing many people do is wear tightly woven clothing that covers your skin and also a wide brim hat. You can wear these things inside too, and guess what? Who cares? If you know you're going in a building that you're questioning the lighting choices they have and how safe they are for you, wear a hat inside. It is not the weirdest thing that people are going to see that day. Let me tell you, okay? Do it. How are we doing on time? Okay, we got 20 minutes. Let's spend some time talking about sunscreen. Sound good? Hi, Darian. Gosh, we got a lot of people here today. So happy to see everyone. My mouth is very dry. For those of you who know what it's like living with multiple lupus overlap conditions, Sjogren's disease has not been my friend in these warmer months. Man, I went from the worst Raynaud's season of my life. Hi, Jill. Gosh, we got everybody here today. Oh, Robin has a really good tip right now. Yeah, worst Raynaud's season of my life in the colder months, and now we're in the warmer months, and now I'm having like the worst Sjogren's season of my life, where my mouth is constantly dry, my eyes are constantly dry. Yeah, super fun. Robin's tip. You can get your windows tinted because of your lupus. Your DMV has paperwork you can take to your doctor I'm so glad I did mine, and what a difference it makes. Wonderful tip. Thank you for sharing that. I would have forgotten that. All right, so protecting yourself from the sun. See, I'm fighting this right here. Is pivotal to helping prevent lupus flares. This is one of the 3 things that Dr. Thomas talks about. He says, always wear sunscreen. Always take your hydroxychloroquine, unless you have an allergy to it. Always, what was the 3rd one? Oh, vitamin D. Vitamin D. Those are his 3 tips, his big tips. So it's important. Let's focus on the sunscreen one. To hopefully sidestep a lupus flare by using sunscreen, it's important to use a broad spectrum SPF and wear sun protective clothing if you can. Most doctors would recommend using at least an SPF of 70 or above that blocks both UVA and UVB rays. And as I mentioned, UVB rays are more responsible for the burn and cancer cells. However, UVA rays are 500 times more strong and penetrate more deeply. So very important to get something that protects from both. It is really important to apply a generous amount of sunscreen. They say a shot glass full. Yes, a shot glass full. And not only a shot glass full, but it's a shot glass full every 60 minutes. 60 minutes, okay? Especially if you are getting in and out of water, because you don't know how much that stuff is rubbing right off, right? So every 60 minutes, a shot glass full. And according to the American College of Dermatology, you need to apply the sunscreen inside. Yes. Do you know why? Because it takes approximately 15 minutes for your skin to absorb the applied sunscreen. So you out there baking in the sun, spray on a quick layer of whatever, you're already getting burnt. But if you apply it inside, wait, set the timer for 15 minutes, then go outdoors. Your skin will be protected. And otherwise, you could get burned, okay? Your skin is at risk from getting, your skin is at risk for those getting exposed to those harmful UV rays every time you go outside. Even to, I want to remind you, I know there's not clouds out today, but even if there's cloud coverage, so in the summer, no matter what the forecast is, make sure you wear sunscreen. You should wear sunscreen every day, even on Christmas morning. Okay? Ask Dr. Thomas. He'd be like, I wear my sunscreen every single day of the year, right? Now, regarding what brand is right for you, it's important to speak to your doctor, your dermatologist, because some people may have certain sensitivities to things that are in the sunscreens, and some people might prefer certain brands. Cetaphil and CeraVe are 2 of the brands that I use on my skin and my son's skin, and I feel like they're cost effective. I like their SPF. It's an SPF 70, and it's a UVA, UVB defense, and it's gentle on the skin. It's hyperallergenic. It's fragrance-free. It's available at Target, Walmart, most stores. You can get on Amazon. So the Cetaphil, I'm just going to put this here for you. Copy. I think it's 70. There we go. I like the Cetaphil products. I use them quite often. There are fancier ones. There's a Vanity Cream sunscreen by Smarter Skin Dermatology. If you want something a little fancier, I'll put this here. I've looked at this stuff before too. Neutrogena also has a broad spectrum. It's an SPF 60. Dermatologists really like Neutrogena. They're non-irritating skincare options. It's like $10. It's not very expensive. They've got great products here. Let's see. Oh, there's also like a brush-on sunscreen too. And then, I've tried over my many years of living with this illness, gadgets as well. Shade, the people at Shade have a sun sensor that you can wear. It's kind of like a little band, and it measures your UV threshold. You have a symptom tracker in there. You can chart how you're feeling. And then once it can establish what your UV threshold is through a series of questions and kind of understanding your disease better, it will tell you when your time is up and you need to get out of the sun because you are past your UV threshold, and hopefully it can help you sidestep any potential symptoms and even lupus flares. So that's something that's been, I have had before and checked out. There's also Logic Ink. They make little temporary tattoos. And you just stick it on your hand, and once it changes color, that means you're past your UV threshold, time to go inside. Yeah, so it kind of helps you stay within your recommended UV limit. Yeah, I've tried both of the shade sensor and also the Logic Ink wearable UV temporary tattoo or sticker, whatever it is that you call, and they worked. Also, there is UV protected clothing I mentioned a little bit earlier, and there's also, you can add UV protection to your clothing by using sunblock detergent. So that's another thing too. That's pretty cool. Now, some people have had a little sensitivity to the stuff that's in that detergent. So just, I would run that by your dermatologist if you have any sensitivities to, but some people found that to be very helpful to add a little extra UV protection by washing their clothes in sunblock. So Coolie Bar is a great brand that I recommend. They guarantee a UPF of 50 plus in their clothing and their accessories. It's very thin clothing. It's great for outdoors, for swimming, activities, hiking, whenever you're outside and you want to just get that extra protection. You can get Coolie Bar at REI, Columbia, Dick's Sporting Goods, and also sometimes you can find Coolie Bar and some protective clothing at Goodwill. If I see it, I try and pick it up because I know someone in my group is going to want it if I can't wear it. So anyway, there's plenty of things that can be helpful for protecting. Obviously, umbrellas as well. A wide brim hat is absolutely suggested. So I hope that whether you're planning a picnic like we're planning next week, or actually this week, I should say, swim party, outdoor summer vacation, you're just wanting to enjoy daily activities around town, I hope that you can take the bummer out of summer by using these tips to have you live your best life. And I want to be kind of, before I wrap this up, because I wasn't going to say this, but I know that sometimes it can be hard to see other lupus patients enjoying the sun. I know some patients, and I've heard, they're laying out, they're in Hawaii. I can't do that. And I just want to be careful because everyone has their thing, right? Everyone has their struggles one way or another. And just because you see someone in our group, or maybe you see me on vacation, or going to the pool, whatever the case may be, and it's hard not to get frustrated or even jealous. But everyone has their thing. It doesn't mean that they're feeling well. It just means that they are trying to live the best life that they can live. And we don't know if they have sunscreen on or not. We don't know how long they've been out in the sun. We don't know how much of a photosensitivity reaction they have or don't have. But it's really not our place to judge, right? I love seeing my lupus sisters and brothers out living their life. I love it. I love seeing a friend of mine who I knew had really a bad flare, 5 years ago, and was on horrible medications that just knocked them flat, going on a hike with their family. I love seeing that. I am always going to be your biggest cheerleader. And I want to encourage you to live your best life and don't judge others who are trying simply to do the same. Okay? So whether, someone has a very mild photosensitivity reaction or it's accumulative like me, where I can be out in the sun for a day, but if I'm out in the sun for 3 days, then I'll start to feel horrible. That's why, and certain types of heat make me feel better than others. I can't do dry heat. A lot of people with RA prefer dry heat. I cannot do dry heat. I feel much better in humidity because I have Raynaud's and I have Sjogren's. Both of those impact my daily life. And when I'm in more humid climates, my Sjogren's is so much better, because of the moisture in the air. And same thing with my Raynaud's. I don't go from these drastic dry hots to the cold, the cold grocery store to the cold car. I can't handle that. But in humidity, we were in Hawaii and then we were in Mexico last year. So much better. So much better. So, you just don't know, right? You just don't know. And the trick is to live your best life and not worry about other people's lives, right? Do your best with what you can do because you have a finite number of days on this earth. Don't squander them judging somebody else's life. All right. That's all I'm going to say about that because I know I've heard so much over the years about, well, there shouldn't be in the sun. What are they, blah, blah, blah. No, don't worry. Just do the best for you. Okay. All right. Got a few minutes here. I want to give you your lupus life quote. I love this one. I'm going to put it right here for you. And then I'm going to talk to you for a few minutes and then wrap this up. So, here we go. Lupus life quote. It's from Michael J. Fox, who I just adore. Oh my gosh, we just watched Back to the Future again. In fact, for Halloween, we did our Back to the Future costumes, and it was so much fun. And obviously, he has lived with a chronic degenerative disease for many years now, and very publicly, very, very publicly. And I love what he says here. He said, I'm not sure when he said this, but at some point, acceptance doesn't mean resignation. It means understanding that something is what it is and that there's got to be a way through it. Acceptance doesn't mean resignation. It means understanding that something is what it is and that there's got to be a way through it. I love that. When a diagnosis or a lab test or confirmation of a flare is in front of your face, or maybe even on your face, literally, if you have skin involvement, and mylar rash, and all the other things that can happen and pop up with this illness. You can ignore it. Lord knows I have. And you can try and run from it, hide, just be in denial. But mindfulness, being present, realizing what is not saying this is the end. It's not even saying this is the way it's always going to be. It is just being real with where you're at so you can assess, and as I said a few minutes ago, live your best life to the best that you can, knowing all things are temporary, knowing there's got to be a way through it, and being kind and gentle with yourself, saying, this is where I'm at right now. This is it. And I'm aware of this. And I'm in tune with my body, with my mind, with this world, and I'm not closing the curtains and saying this is the end. So take that with you today. Hopefully, maybe someone needed to hear that today. And I'm really thankful for everyone who came out today. I'm excited. We have Emmett here. So happy to have him. Guys, if you don't know, Emmett, how could you not? He is Male Lupus Warriors. He has got a great platform. He is also one half of the Lupus Dream Team with Dion Langley. And they are two male lupus warriors who have really broken the stigma of this illness and brought together a fantastic community. They've got support groups. He does a lot of live stream awareness. He does a lot of traveling as well. So thank you, Emmett, for your continued commitment to spreading lupus awareness and connecting everyone over here in the lupus community. We've got Robin here out in Chicago. Deborah's back. I'm so happy to see you. Yay, you caught us. You caught us. Yeah, we're talking about macaroni and cheese. Yeah, why not? Why not? Blessings for you to be here too. I'm so happy. Oh, we've got Misty here too. Love to you as well. So happy to have you. Yes, Robin, 7 years of more than lupus. And then obviously I worked for 7 years with Molly's Fun Fighting Lupus before that. So yeah, it's been like 14 years of working in lupus awareness, a nonprofit here in the Pacific Northwest. Oh, Debbie, I'm back. I was bringing in a girlfriend that was just diagnosed with SLE. She hopes she will come in your live. Oh, I'm really hopeful that she can join at some point and connect or check out More Than Lupus for all the support and information we have there. 4 years, yes, wow. Tiffany Hampton. Hi, Tiffany. This is her first live segment. Hope she will enjoy information about lupus and awareness. I am so happy to have you, Tiffany. Thank you for joining. And I hope that you found some of the information today helpful. And please, as I mentioned, check out morethanlupus.com for more information on lupus support and resources. Let's see. I'm walking my skipping soon. Oh man, yes, early morning sun. Yep, absolutely, for sure. Yes. So, Chris, this is one of those things where there has been some studies about how certain LED lights can still emit UV. And as I mentioned, it's a small amount, but certain people have a very heightened sensitivity to UV exposure. And depending on what your UV bandwidth is, what your threshold is, you may find sometimes when you go to those ultraviolet UV lights or those LED lights, you will know through tracking your symptoms and feeling maybe things change. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But it's just something to be aware of if you have severe photosensitivity. Some people have very severe photosensitivity. There we go. There you go. Blue Lizard sunscreen, and it's been working out great. Okay, good to know. Good to know. Blue Lizard sunscreen. Good morning, Darian. Hi, Jill. So happy. By the way, check out Jill's blog that she wrote on dysautonomia. It is so good. There's the information on getting your tinted windshields and windows on your car. Very, very helpful. Great. Apply your UV sunscreen with makeup sponges. That sounds like it works for me. For sure. We've got Carolyn from Wisconsin here as well. We've got Wisconsin, we've got Illinois, we've got Connecticut, we've got California, we've got Oregon, obviously. We got a lot of states joining today. Very, very thrilled to have everyone on. All right, guys, it's 12. Thankful for you today. Next week, I'm going to be in Bend, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to pop on or not, but If I'm not able to, I will have a former live here that's full of information for you to enjoy. Also, this Saturday, check out our Zoom support group at 3, and we also have our More Than Lupus summer potluck happening at 10 a.m. at Cook Park in Tigard. So I hope that you can come and join us in person, those of you in the Portland metro area. Okay? So take care, guys. I hope everyone, as Robin says, I'm going to steal that, has a fantastic week. Thank you so much for continuing to come back to these chats that I've been doing for like a gazillion years. And I hope that you're still finding them helpful and informative. And if you are just joining for the first time, just know you are more. You are more than that lab work that didn't look good. You are more than your dry mouth and your dry eyes. You are more than your sleepless nights. You are more than your skin involvement. You are more than your pain that just seems to keep coming in waves. You are more than the things the doctor said, or maybe didn't say. You are more than the gaslighting, if that was your experience. You are more than the brain fog that's embarrassing when you can't remember someone's name. Happened to me yesterday. You are more than the anxiety. What's going to happen next? Can I go on that trip? Will I be able to do it? I don't want to go. What's that doctor going to say to me now? You're more than the anxiety. You're more than the corpse Ringo's fingers. You're more than the hair loss. You are more than the weight fluctuations. You are more than a sum of everything that you think is wrong with you. You are more than lupus. Okay? I know it can be all-consuming. I've been there time and time again. I know. But it is a part of you. It is woven into the tapestry of your life, but you are so many other things as well. You are artists. You are poets. You are professionals. You are moms. You are dads. You are scientists. You are experts. You're gardeners. You're florists. You're really good crossword people. You're smart. You're beautiful. You're strong. You are more. You are more. Do not shrink yourself down to everything you think is bad and wrong with you. Because you are more. Okay? Remember that today. I'm going to go. My mouth is dry. I will see you later. Okay? Take care, everyone. Bye-bye. See you next time.